Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Ganganapate Namaha. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deva Maheshwaraha. Guru Reva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sarva Mangala Mangalde Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharanya Trambake Devi Narayani Namostute. Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamam Mritat. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Sarva Mangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharanya Trambake Devi Narayani Namostute. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Mahalakshmi Rupena Samstita. Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha. Om Hrim Shri Hanumate Namaha. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 9th of November 2025. I want to offer my Anantagoti Namaskar prostrations to all the great sages and to Bhagwan residing in the heart of every single being. We are continuing to examine Ishwar Pranidhan, which is an extraordinary quality in the Ashtanga Yoga as written by Patanjali. And along those lines, to continue further to understand and unpack this extraordinary surrender towards Bhagavan, towards Ishvara, Paramatma. Today we'll be looking at transmutation of self-centered will. Will, W-I-L-L, means Swatantra Shakti, my will. We are given some amount of Swatantra Shakti by Paramatma, by Bhagavan. Bhagavan is Purana Swatantra, 100% free is God. Bhagavan. God is the grantor of certain amount of Swatantrata to the Jeev. Actually, Jivatma is always Paratantra. So there's two words here to keep in mind. And we need to understand these two words, that is Swatantra and Paratantra. Both of these metaphysical truths, as well as reality in our life, this is necessary to actually move into the state of Ishwara Pranidhan. So I'm continuing from our last several days on this subject because it builds further and further. So I will be loading all these talks very soon. So what is interesting here is that we feel Swatantra. We have Swatantra meaning independent. I have my own thoughts, my own feelings, my own volition. Yes, we do, to some extent. But we cannot do everything, nor do we know everything. So Sarva Karta, Kartutva, the all-doership, that power is with God, Bhagavan. The omniscience, all-knowing, that is with God. We are not all-knowing, we are not all-doing. We have certain limited amount that we are able to do. We don't know exactly how much that is, but we cannot do everything. Yeah, we can expand our abilities, no doubt. We cannot know everything also. It's not possible. We can understand a lot. We can gain more and more knowledge, but to gain the completeness of knowledge, the jnana, or know everything about everything, it's not possible. That only Bhagavan has that. That is called Sarvagnata. Right? So these are some points to keep in mind. We are Alpagna. Bhagavan is Sarvagna. Bhagavan is Sarva Karta Harta. In Gujarati we say Karta Harta. Harta means doer, non-doer, everything. Everything is happening by that divine will. As Ramakrishna Paramans in his teachings, that has been translated into religious determinism. Thoda technical baat hai wo, we won't go into that right now. But where we want to head towards is our own personal will. Do we have a personal will? Yes, we do. We have certain amount of Swatantra that has been granted by Paramatma. Now that's self-will generally is tuned into our ahankar, through our ego. Right? So in Ishwar Pranidhan, meaning to surrender completely at the feet of God, That means to transmute self-centered will. Look at the language carefully, please. If you're taking notes, you can write this down. Self-centered will. Will is there. Will meaning our freedom, our decision-making capacity, our ability to choose, basically, what we want to do. We have so many options in life, so many ways, so many directions to go. That is called will, W-I-L-L. In psychology, it is called agency also. Agency doesn't mean like a social service agency. That's another meaning of the word agency. Agency meaning there's an agent who has the capacity, agent meaning a person who has the capacity to choose. That is called agency. Our ability to make decisions, that is called agency. Right? In psychology, you may not know that word is used that way. So self-centered will is where I am doing my actions for my own pleasures, enjoyments, my own experiences that I want. Self-centeredness. It's not always a negative thing, but it can be. But there is self-centeredness. That's why there's so many problems in the world. So transmutation of self-centered will. इस पर थोड़ा ध्यान रखना. Transmutation. Transmute, the word transmute, means to change from one, to fundamentally transform from one state to another. One substance transmutes into another. Like, for example, iron, this isn't, I don't know if it can happen this way, but if you have a metal that is not gold, that becomes gold, let's say, just as a hypothetical thing, right? Transmutation. It is called spiritual alchemy. So to transform from one state, it's not simply a change, like water that changes into steam. That is not transmutation. But water that, let's say, breaks apart into oxygen and hydrogen, two different gases. Now it's fundamentally different. Or hydrogen and oxygen, they combine together to form water. That is called transmutation. That is an example of transmutation. Oxygen is oxygen, O2. That's not water. Hydrogen is H. That is hydrogen. Hydrogen has one electron. Or it's one atom, right? And then oxygen is two atoms, O2. But when they combine together, now a new compound is formed. The whole, now you have actual liquid water. You don't have liquid water just with oxygen. Isn't it so? This is chemistry, where everybody knows this. That's what's called a chemical reaction. Just as hydrogen plus O2, H plus O2 equals H2O. It's a reaction that happens, and then you have water. Similarly, this self-centered will, our ahankar, our desires, personal desires, can transmute into alignment with greater intelligence, with higher intelligence. That is scriptures. That is Guru Vachan. Bhagwan के जो वचन है, that is higher intelligence. Shankaracharya ji, Ramanujacharya ji, Madhvacharya ji, Nimbarkacharya ji, etc. Brahma Sutras, Bhagavad Gita, it just goes on. The list just goes on. The list goes on. So that higher intelligence is coming from Paramatma. We have certain amount of intelligence, buddhi. Yes, we do. But when our self-centered will, W-I-L-L, transmutes, not changes, transmutes into alignment with higher intelligence, that is where fundamental alchemical transformation of consciousness happens. I'll explain these very interesting points. This is what Ishwar Pranidhan is about. That the alignment, for example, with the Gita, with Shankaracharya ji's scriptures, any such shastra, Naneshwari, तुकाराम महाराज के जो गाथा है इन मराठी, बहुत सुंदर बात है. रामकृष्ण परमहंस के कथामृत, any scripture that is absolutely showing, any scripture that is absolutely reflecting the truth, showing the satyam, showing the path or multiple paths into the realization of Bhagwan, of Parabrahma, Paramatma, and the Atman, Brahman, etc. Higher truth. Any Shastra, any Guru, any teacher, any one who is showing that which is coming from Paramatma, and when we begin to align with that higher supreme intelligence, that alignment with supreme intelligence, the process of aligning with the supreme intelligence, scriptures, stotras, mantras, etc., that alignment process is the transmutation of self-centered will. In simple way to put it, ahankar gets dissolved at the feet of God. But that dissolving of the ahankar is extraordinarily beautiful when it is aligned with the teachings, Swarup, Tattva, that is Bhagavan. And this is what enacts. It is the enactment of a fundamental alchemical transformation of consciousness. It's an analogy that is used, like one substance transmutes into another. That is called alchemy. There used to be a lot of science. There's probably still some of that. In the olden times, it was like this. They would try to make these precious metals by alchemical process. So we want to transmute into the mukta state, into the bhakta state. Mukta banna hai. Mukta means liberated being, liberated from ajnan, liberated from maya, liberated from ignorance, liberated from the dvanda, the dualities, liberated in every way. Total liberation. And to do this, there is the redirection. The direction of what? Of the deepest energetic movement of the psyche. Because that's all we can work with is energy. Nobody can deny energy, and that's the one thing that makes our life. If we don't have energy, we don't have anything. Shakti. That is Mahashakti, Devi. We worship Devi as Mahalakshmi, Mahakali, Mahasaraswati. We have so much love and respect for Devi. Why is that? Who is Devi after all? After all, we cannot imagine. That is Mahashakti, Prakriti. We cannot possibly imagine that Param Shakti. But that same Param Shakti is present. Our presence, existence is because of that Param Shakti. And we also have some of that Shakti, same Shakti. So the Shakti that is there, the energy that is present in the body, mind, senses, speech, vision, hearing, everything, that is redirected. So it is the redirection of the deepest energetic movement of the psyche. What does that mean actually? Our Shakti is moving all the time inside of us. Isn't it? Right now Sachin is speaking. This body, this mind, these senses are active right now. Hands are active. I'm moving my body a little bit. I'm holding this microphone in my hand, etc. There is activity going on. How is that happening? It is energetic movement. There is no life without energetic movement. That is the dynamic movement. That is called Brahma Shakti Abhed in Ramakrishna Paramahansa's teachings. Shakti is the dynamic movement of consciousness, of Brahman. Brahma Satyam, Jagat Satyam. Shakti is real, Brahman is real. उसमें कोई फर्क नहीं है. थोड़ी वेदांत की बात है वो. It's really quite extraordinary to redirect the deepest energetic movement of the psyche. Psyche meaning antakaran, our mind. Mind, body, brain connection, it's all together. It's directed in one particular way. It's directed externally towards Vishayas, towards Rag, Dvesh, Mamatva, all this externally directed. And to be lost inside the sansar. All you have to do is go to the mall for 2 hours easily to understand this point. Don't need any scriptures to understand this. To see what happens to our mind. We go to the different, this store, that store, this, it just, and if you have money saved, then the attraction, if you don't have that much money, you can enjoy, some window shopping kind of situation. But you have, quite a bit of money saved in your bank account, you can buy whatever you want from there. You see exactly what is meant by where our mind is directed. अनुभव का प्रश्न है जीवन इज अनुभव ओनली, नथिंग एल्स. इसमें वैराग्य कैसे हो सकता है? But it can happen by going into a mall. I'm using that as an example, where they attract 100 stores, 200 stores. So many malls are there. King of Prussia and Christiana Mall and this and that. Go inside there as a sadhana. We've said that we go into temples as a sadhana. Have we gone into a mall as a sadhana? Sounds crazy, right? It's not. That is where the real spirituality is. Once the division breaks between a mandir, Bhagwan ka mandir, and a shopping mall, when the difference is gone, that is enlightenment. As long as the difference is there, that is agnan. Sarvam khalvidam brahma. You see what is involved. As soon as you go, park your car into the mall, see where the mind is running. Everybody is running towards the Panch Vishayas. Every single person is drawn to get something, to go somewhere. Don't find it anybody's fault. That is the reality. And we get drawn into the same thing. Because we get attracted. Oh, what a nice store. What is this? What is this? What is food court? Go to the food. 25 restaurants are there. There's no criticism. Sachin is not criticizing anything. This is the reality. When we are talking realignment, first of all, what are we aligned to? Just to be aware, where am I aligned? Go by yourself or go with another person or friend and try and make it a sadhana just to be aware where my mind is aligned. And you'll notice, go to the food court. Just sit there in one of those small tables. See the people, see the restaurant, see how the mind starts spinning, and go there when you're hungry. इसमें भगवान याद आते हैं? ओम नमो नारायणाय, ओम श्री कृष्णाय नमः, ओम राधाय नमः. ऐसी वृत्ति होती है? Even while seeing all those restaurants? Even though there's hunger is there. Can we see all the food and select properly and turn it into prasadam? While sitting at the food court in the mall? I went to hold a retreat one time, a Christiana Mall retreat, just to do this. Kisko malum hai? This is Adhyatma. If we cannot do this, there's no chance of realizing God. Forget about it. Doesn't matter how many temples we go to. Make the mall a temple. Make your house a temple. Make the body a temple. Make the family a temple. Make the park a temple. Not make it, it already is. Sarvam khalvidam brahma, Upanishad ka mahavakya. Where does it say in the Upanishad? In fact, the word mandir is not there anywhere in the Upanishad. This is our creation as a sadhana. Our meaning, rishis created temples and they are holy. They are important. They are extremely important. We have to do sadhana. We cannot say, oh, this is all. No, it's not that way. But there's an evolution further where there is no going out of the mandir. Mandir में से बाहर निकलने की बात ही नहीं होती. जहाँ जाओ, wherever you go, there is temple. That is what we want. You see how tricky it becomes. How can you say sitting at the food court at Christiana Mall is a mandir? Have you ever tried that? Go by yourself for 3 hours. Take a mala. You don't have to just put shorts and regular clothes on, whatever. You don't have to put tilak or anything. Keep a mala with you somewhere in your pocket or in your bag or something. And sit silently. And just observe for 30 minutes what craziness is going on inside the mind. See our direction is where our mind is going. Mind, vasanas, ichhas. We smell particular food item. We see, we see a particular thing. All those different restaurants are there, Five Guys and this and that and whatever they are. Taco Bell is there and Suki Hana and I don't know all the names even. So many are there, right? Pizza shop. And then get up and go and जैसे हम भगवान का दर्शन करते हैं in the sannidhi, in the temple. Go to each restaurant like that and see the reaction inside. Don't buy anything. Try this sadhana. You'll find out where our mind is directed. How much vasana is there, how much ichha, how the stimulation process, sab kuch yaad aa jayega isme. And then when that is going on, come back and sit down silently. When we go back to your car, 1 hour chant Krishna mantra. You find out what is vasana, how to redirect this mind into Bhagavan. This is sadhana in real life. If we do this, enlightenment will happen. Then you can go back into seeing the restaurants with divine vision. That is the highest thing. Okay, whatever is there, you can see Maya and its play. We can see Daivi Esha Gunamayi. Bhagwan Krishna jo bolte hai, Daivi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya. This verse, you can see the manifestation of this verse at the mall. It's one of the best places to practice spirituality. Go to the mall. Go to the mandir first, and then go to the mall. But if you're going to the mall, you see how our vritti becomes rajsik. You say, because we separate. We say, oh, Bhagwan ka mandir. We did something extraordinary. We went to the mandir. As if God is supposed to come running after us because we went to the temple. Forget about it. It's not going to happen ever unless we can break this division. Bhagwan is not confined to any temple. You know, the people that are cleaning the trash and everything inside the food court at Christiana Mall, can we see Bhagwan in them? Can we see Bhagwan in all the children and all the people? Even though they're oriented towards the Vishayas, Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra, Bhagavad Gita is to be applied there. Everywhere. This is called redirection of the deepest energetic movement of the psyche. What a sentence that is. Our movement is energetic. You know, I'll give you a simple example. You go into the food court area and they have that Five Guys store, and have these French fries that they make in peanut oil or something like that. It's, kya amazing. As if you have gotten Akshardham, Golok Dham mein gaye, Five Guys. This is our life. This is the way this whole thing functions. And when that happens, what do? You can see that consciousness is directed there. Okay, it is directed. Now bring in Adhyatma. Sit down again, back in the chair somewhere. And bring the energy into divine consciousness, that even these potatoes, this French fries, this and that, it is all Brahman. Bhagwan ki shakti hai. Bhagwan ko yaad karna. Then go back there again, and the people who are serving, wish well for them. Wish, good things, sadvichar. Even the food that is coming, you purchase some sandwich or whatever you purchase from there, that this is prasad. Place it in front. Speak the Krishna mantra, Radha mantra, Namah Shivaya mantra 108 times. It is a mandir. Mandir kaha nahi hai. Otherwise, you could be sitting in the temple and thinking about the worldly objects, which is generally what happens. The connection is gone. What connection is there? I've talked to big pujaris for years. They said that we have not realized anything because they're stuck as a job only. That's all. It's not a job. A spirituality is not a job. It's realization. Yes, it may be a job and all that, but if you cannot realize these things, vasanas will swing the person back and forth. So spirituality, enlightenment is everywhere. And bondage is also everywhere. मंदिर में भी बंधन है, मंदिर से बाहर भी बंधन है, घर में मंदिर है, हमारे अंतःकरण में बंधन का क्या? गुणातीतानंद स्वामी से बंधन कोई पार નથી. And if you are liberated from inside by the grace of Paramatma, wherever the body is taken by Paramatma, it is liberation. It is mukti. It is ananda. This is called redirection of the deepest energetic movement of the psyche, and this directing towards divine vision. This is what leads to Ishwar Pranidhan. For example, when we order French fries at the Five Guys, I'm using a very simple real life example here. Or any place you order some sandwich or something, and our ahankar is, see how our ahankar is. We talk about transmutation of self-centered will. Our ahankar is, I'm giving you $5 for this. This is my $5. You better, I'm exchanging, We just say, oh, thank you. This and if it's something is not right, some salt is not there, this and that. Something is not made, we get upset, angry, this and that. Kitna hota hai? See the bondage. We think of these exchanges. I have $5. I'm giving you, you give me this. It's an ego transaction, not a love transaction. Buying French, try it. Next time you buy a bag of potatoes at Acme or Pathmark and go to the cashier, make it into bhakti. It is called potato bhakti. You literally, you buy a bushel of you buy 5 pounds of potatoes and Bhagwan ko yaad karna. Brahma Rapanam Brahma Havir. Kar sakte hai? Try it sometime. See the magic that happens. That when that bag of potatoes is at the checkout, see that person who's checking out, usme Bhagwan ka vaas hai. And this is not just a financial transaction. I, with my ego, is just purchasing something because usme se connection hi toot jata hai Bhagwan ke saath. Ahankar comes into the picture. No, this is appreciate the person, appreciation, gratitude for so many people. Hundreds of people have been involved in bringing those potatoes to us. And then the cashier also, the people in the store, gratitude with so much love and affection as a seva with bhav and bhakti. Kitni Bhagwan ki daya hai. And then of course transactional, you give the money. But now the ahankar is not present there. This is called redirection of the deepest energetic movement of the psyche. It's not easy to do this. It takes time. It takes time to set the mind this way. Isliye ghar mein, mandir mein, the sadhanas done in the temples is the beginning to do this. Vishnu Sahasranam, Lalita Sahasranam, different pujas, archanas, havans. So many things are done in temples or even at home at my place we do all that. Why we do that? Is that the end? It is just the beginning. It is the beginning to move into that dimension of Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Ja juwe tya Ram ji, biju na bhaase re. Muktanand ji ka pad. Kitni sundar baat. It becomes the magical, isme a magic baat hai. Buying a bag of potatoes in this divine bhav is the highest bhakti. Have you ever thought about that? Has anybody thought about that? When we go for shopping, when we go to the mall, when we meet with people, anywhere. We have separated Bhagwan into temples, into scriptures, into gurus and all, and away from regular life. And that is the biggest mistake, and that is why nobody realizes God. The moment we can break that division, the game is won. The whole structure of Agnan falls away. Ajnanatimirandhasya jnananjana shalaka chakshurum militamena. Chakshurum militamena. The divine, the vision opens it. This is what the Guru Stuti teaches us. We are so stuck in limitation. We have put boundaries around God. God doesn't have any boundaries. The word Brahman means without boundary. And we have created boundaries upon boundaries upon boundaries upon boundaries and have segmented our mind into a very limited framework that has a purpose, like a mandir, like we have Mahalakshmi Ji ka mandir. That is a beginning. Sadhana karo, darshan karo. We can sit for 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever. As soon as we go out of the temple, notice the change in the mind. That change must not happen. That is the sadhana. Notice the change, getting back into the vortex of the sansar. Daivi yesha gunamayi mama maya duratya mam eva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. This, remember we talked about this. Take a verse, install, iski pratishta kar dijiye. by asking Paramatma to reveal its esoteric essence. By mananam, 108 times repetition of this beautiful verse. वो श्लोक भगवान कृष्ण जब बोले हैं, it needs to live inside the mind, inside the senses, inside the talk. It has to live inside. And asking Radha and Krishna for their blessings so that this can live inside, and hamari drishti, our vision opens up. There's no coming and going out of the mandir. Mandir sab jagah hi mandir hai. Everything, everyone is form of God. ऐसी स्थिति, ऐसी दृष्टि. Beyond names and forms, all the entanglements of names and forms. How beautiful is this? This is called transmutation of the self-centered will. बहुत अहंकार. We don't know how deep the ahankar goes. But when we begin to connect with Bhagavan with great love and affection, it doesn't matter where you go, that connection never breaks. I use a worldly example. If you have $1 billion in the bank account, you can go anywhere. Dollar Tree store, mall, you can go to buy purchases, or you can go for the car dealership, or you can be at home, or you could be awake, or you could be sleeping. Even you'll never forget for 1 second you are a billionaire. How can you forget that? There's a relationship with that bank account, isn't it so? तो हमारे साथ भगवद गीता है, उपनिषद है, ब्रह्म सूत्र है, वचनामृत है, बड़े बड़े संतों की कृपा है. How can we forget that? How is it when you have something, when you have this connection with, it is mahima, it's glory, mahima. If you don't have mahima, means the glory of that. If somebody is a billionaire, has no knowledge of what that means to be a billionaire, like a 3-year-old child is a billionaire, some 3-year-old child's under his or her name, $1 billion is placed in the account. What gyan? Iska koi gyan hai iska? And how much the Bhagavad Gita costs? Open to everybody, it's freely available. Iska kisko mahima hai? Ye kya hai? भगवान के संत का महिमा क्या है? भगवान के शास्त्र व आत्मा का महिमा क्या है? भगवान का जो स्वरूप है, भगवान का धाम, when the vision goes into that, param drishtva nivartate, my God, one is flooded with supreme ananda. Flood, like the billionaire. I'm using a worldly example, but it's not about money. I'm just using that because our mind is obsessed with money. That's the reason why I'm using that to show how to get into that divine consciousness in that way. You want to be obsessed with something? भगवान के चरण, नारायण परमात्मा जो है, उनके चरणारविंद में आसक्त बन जाओ. In Gujarati we say आसक्ति राखवी भगवान ना चरणारविंदी. कितनी अद्भुत बात है. But we don't realize. And when that realization is there, you cannot forget. How can anybody forget Paramatma? And get stuck in foolish things inside, like as a Agnani. How is it possible? It's like a billionaire who goes to the Dollar Tree store, goes to the Dollar Day store, and forgets he's a billionaire and thinks he has only $500 in the account. And totally forgets. Vispruti. And then starts looking for a minimum wage job here and there. Malum hi nahi ki he just starts spends 30-40 years trying to become a manager somewhere at McDonald's. Has forgotten he's a billionaire. This is the whole thing in the Vaishnavism, back to Godhead, as Swami Prabhupada Ji talks about. Try to remember who you are. What we are. We have forgotten. And then we live hankering after the Panch Vishayas in great internal poverty. Garib, Manushya. Who is Garib means poor. Who is poor? One who is running after the objects of the senses, trying to find happiness. That is the most poor person. And who is the most rich person? Who is from inside, is completely evolved. Consciousness is aligned with Paramatma, is rich from inside. That is the real richness. That richness from inside is bhakti. That richness from inside is Ishwar Pranidhan. That richness from inside is where there are no more faults taken from anyone. There is the flow through the glow the natural glow of the awakened mind, that energy is flowing as bhakti without any boundary. That is called prema bhakti. That is the ye sthiti mein jana hai. Ye sthiti means state of stage of realization. Unbroken stage of realization is called sthiti. Extraordinary. Extraordinary. Our ordinary human consciousness, the Ichha Shakti we have. Ichha Shakti is what? What is that? That is the inherent power of volition and desire. Understand this sentence, please, carefully. We have Shakti, but it is through my ahankar, my ego, it has the power of volition. I want this, and I want this, and I want this. You go to the store, the mall, and Five Guys is there, not French. You smell the French fries. I want that. You're running after it. I want that experience of chewing it and putting it in the ketchup or this and that, and putting salt and pepper and some spices, and as if we have found God. Yes, that experience is there. That is also part of God. But the binding is tremendous. Binding is tremendous. When it is, it's like this. When a person is thirsty and they're looking for a glass of water, but they don't realize that they're thirsty in the ocean. It's like the fish that is thirsty in the ocean. It's something like that. The ocean is, Brahman is everywhere. But we have not found the connection, so we are thirsty. It's like that. Yes, the French fry, but at the bodily level, that experience is there. But to try to find Ananda, or to mistake that experience for Ananda, is Ajnana. To use that experience to discover Ananda is Shiv-Shakti combination. You can use a French fry as a doorway into Brahman. Have you ever thought about that? How can you do that? How can you use 15 French fries as a doorway into Brahman? Is it possible? Of course. Of course it's possible. How? You experience it. The experience while it is going on, chewing. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Tie the experience with the name of God. Radha, Radha, Radha. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. With the name while the experience is going on. That experience will transmute, and it will not bind the individual at all, and the mind will remain free while that experience is going on. In the Swaminarayan Satsang, when the most devotees, they are taught this way: when you are taking food, you take the name of Bhagavan internally. Not if you just eat. Just because I want this and I want this and I like it, the I ahankar is there. Yeah, enjoyment is there, but connect the enjoyment with the source of which is Ananda Kanda Paramatma, while that enjoyment is going on. Now, 10, 15 French fries from Five Guys or from wherever it is you're making it at home, well, any food item is a doorway. That's why we say Anna hi Purana Brahma. Now it is Brahman only. But now the Vasana is not there, Ahankar is not there. There is still the enjoyment, but that enjoyment is connected into Ananda, not simply the egotistical, I want this and I enjoy it so much, get to a saturation point and then run after something else. This is what is meant by transmutation of self-centered will into alignment with Param Tattva, Bhagwan, greater intelligence, which is the fundamental alchemical transmutation of consciousness, where there is a redirection of the deepest energetic movement of the psyche. This is the sentence we were looking at today. So extraordinary. Kya adbhut baat hai. Our Ichha Shakti transmutes into Bhagvat Ichha. Bhagwan ki Ichha, that Ichha becomes the Shakti. Not simply the Ahankar. And that is the transformation. Try it in everyday life. Break the division between mandir and the world. Break that division. Try to do this sadhana. Go to the mall. as if you're going for sadhana. And because that is where the real sadhana is going to be done. It may be easier to do Bhagavad sadhana in the temple. Yes, that's what the temple is for. That is a beginning. That is holy, divya, pavitra. Everything is there. Iska mahima aparampar hai. Expand into sarvam khalvidam brahma. That is the destination. And when we are in that connection, both are the relative level. We can see Maya, the flow of Maya. Sattva, Rajatama. We can see it beautifully. And it's a matter of reflection. Maybe go with another friend or somebody who wants to do this sadhana. I want to hold a retreat actually just to do this. A Christiana Mall retreat for Vedanta. That'll be the next one. Sometime after March, we will do it. We'll spend a whole day doing this sadhana at the mall. How to do this exactly. And see how the mind starts spinning in 1,000 directions. And then how to bring it back into alignment with Paramatma. If we cannot do this, we cannot realize Paramatma. Right, so let's stop here for now. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Medeva Sarvakarishu Sarvada Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundai Vicha Om Glom Hum Klim Jum Saha Jwale Jwale Jwala Jwala Prajwala Prajwala Aim Rim Klim Chamundai Vicha Jwala Hum Samlam Ksham Phat Swaha Om Durge Durge Rakshini Tha Tha Swaha Om Shri Durga Arpanamastu Om Shri Radha Krishna Arpanamastu Om Rim Swaha. Okay.